the day I flew back home. The 4 childhood sweethearts who'd promised to pick me up were nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a stream of comments flashed before my eyes. This poor girl. In just 3 years, all 4 male leads fell for the substitute. No one cares about her. The white moonlight is best left overseas. The moment she comes back, she's just a forgotten memory. The female side character is beautiful and brilliant, but she's just a plot device to push the female lead and the male leads closer. The second she returns, the male leads will realize how much they truly love the heroine. Ah, so they'd found other loves. I let out a long sigh of relief. Pulling out my phone, I sent a quick text. The pests are gone. Baby, come and get me. 10 minutes later, I walked out of the airport, arm with a man. The comments exploded. What the hell? The side character has a man of her own, and she's been hiding him from the male leads. Not sure. Need a closer look. Wait, doesn't that handsome guy look just like the heir to the city's wealthiest family, Asher Hua? Isn't he the great villain who doesn't show up until the second half of the book? The one who nearly wiped out the entire main cast single-handedly. What is he doing here now? The great villain. I glanced at Asher, who was clearly sulking despite letting me cling to his arm. With his sharp brows, piercing eyes, and a jawline that could cut glass, he certainly had the imposing presence of a villain. If it weren't for that pout on his face. Clara, I've been with you since I was 20. He sounded deeply wronged. And what do I get? You didn't even tell me you had 4 other guys on the back burner back home. You even made me hide. I'm the official boyfriend, but you've got me hiding like some dirty little secret. You're terrible at keeping a man. So unfair. I was just worried those 4 lunatics would bully him. If I had known earlier that he was the villain, I wouldn't have stood in the way of his self-expression. It was his own fault. Really, back when we were abroad, he was all cute and cuddly, acting so harmless and eager to please. I thought he was just another pretty face trying to sleep his way to the top. Okay, I was wrong. He was such a sensitive boy, though. If I didn't coax him, he'd throw a fit. So, I apologized immediately. How can I make it up to you? Name your price. This big sister might not have much, but I've got good looks and a little bit of cash. Who cares about your stupid money? Asher snapped. Then, he narrowed his eyes and leaned in, his voice dangerously low. Let me tell you something, Clara, I'm in this for marriage. If you dare betray me, I'll break my own legs and chain myself to the bed. You can ride me, choke me until I'm breathless with pleasure, but you'll never escape my grasp. I nodded, intrigued. Sounds like I get the better end of the deal. He preened. Of course. Besides, who else is built to last like me? Who else can take everything you throw at them? He wasn't wrong. The comments were already flooding the screen in support of his sacrifice. It took me exactly 1 second to ship this couple. He talks a big game about control, but all he wants is for her to be in charge. This boy is playing 4D chess. This is the cold-blooded villain who can take down 4 male leads by himself. Queen Clara, please, we need a tutorial on how to train this man. There was no training. He was born a hopeless romantic. You can't learn this stuff. But the marriage proposal was worth considering. After all, the main reason I let him come back with me was to finally make things clear to my grandfather, who was obsessed with the childhood betrothal he'd arranged for me. If I was going to get married, it had to be to someone of Asher's caliber. As for the 4 boys he picked for me, I wouldn't touch any of them with a 10-foot pole. When Asher and I arrived home, the 4 childhood friends were still absent. Only their parents were there, greeting me with unnerving enthusiasm. They barely got 2 words in before my furious grandfather chased them out of the room. Grandpa had been fuming about the 4 no-shows, but the moment he laid eyes on Asher, his own eyes lit up. You little rascal. No wonder you stayed away for 3 years. You actually managed to snag a good one behind my back. He poked me twice with his cane. Then, he grabbed Asher's hand, grinning like a trafficker who'd just found his prize. Good boy. So handsome. So handsome. It doesn't matter if your family is rich or poor. Stay here. Stay with our family. Give Clara lots of babies. As expected, my grandfather is all about the looks. The second he saw Asher, he completely forgot about the 4 childhood fiancés. Asher's face flushed a delicate pink, playing the part of an innocent maiden. Grandpa, it's all up to Clara. Then, he casually added, my surname is Hua. Hua. My grandpa gasped. He stared in shock. Which Hua? As in Vincent Hua, the man who practically owns this city. Asher replied with faux humility. Vincent Hua is none other than my unworthy father. Grandpa instantly dropped his hand, his expression turning grave. Well, this is awkward. Our family has a bit of money, sure, but we can't compare to the Huas, who hold the city's lifeline in their hands, and my Clara will not be marrying into another family. No sir. Asher pulled a thick stack of contracts, folded into a neat square, from his pocket and pressed it into Grandpa's hand. Grandpa, don't be a stranger. In the Hua Family Corporation, my mother holds 32% of the shares, and I hold 30%. We'll each give 20% to Clara, which will be 2% more than my father holds. This is the share transfer agreement. You can sign it now. If that's not enough, I'll have my mom divorce him. Conservatively, she'll get another 10%. We can add that to Clara's dowry. Tears welled up in my grandfather's eyes. He lifted Asher's hand, the one holding the contracts, as if it were a sacred offering. This doesn't count as selling my granddaughter for riches, does it? Asher cried along with him. Grandpa, you're about to be the grandfather in law of the city's wealthiest family. Be confident. Grandpa, my boy, my dear boy. Asher, Grandpa. Then, the two of them let out a triumphant, villainous laugh. Mwahahaha. I was very satisfied. They both got what they wanted, and so did I. I knew his last name was Hua, but I never imagined it was that Hua. My fatal charm. How did I conquer the top tier powerhouse of the entire novel? Who said the side character has a bad fate? This fate is amazing. Clara, you've done so well, so very well. What am I even watching? Is this still the 4 guys, 1 girl substitute revenge story from the summary? The White Moonlight has her own official ship. Who's going to get jealous and turn evil to advance the main quintet's romance now? Am I the only one who thinks Asher's character is infinitely better than the 4 male leads? Just let me watch the side character and the villain live happily ever after. Don't let the other 5 show up. Impossible. Just now, when the male lead's parents saw the grandpa's attitude, they rushed to call their sons. The plot has to follow the main storyline. Oh no, Clara, don't be a fool. Those 4 scumbags aren't worth it. It was through the comments that I learned the real reason my 4 childhood friends were no shows. My substitute, Mia, had tried to kill herself last night by slitting her wrists. To be fair, the heroine has it rough too. She was a poor, innocent girl who got toyed with by 4 rich young masters just because she looked a bit like the side character. They used to give her whatever she wanted, spoiling her rotten. Then yesterday, they told her she was just a substitute and they were leaving her for the real deal. Who wouldn't lose their mind? Heh, the heroine isn't that pitiful. She's a master manipulator. A shallow cut on her wrist was all it took to scare the 4 male leads to death. They completely forgot the side character was coming back, and started reflecting on whether they'd actually fallen in love with the substitute. Such pathetic men. Clara is so lucky to have escaped them. Tell me about it. Just a moment ago, on my way to the restroom, I overheard Mr. Kane, Ryan's father, shouting into his phone in the hallway. Ryan Kane, I don't care where you are. You get back to the family home right now. Clara is back. Is it appropriate for you to be fooling around outside at a time like this? Mr. Kane was in his 50s, a CEO who still used a phone with the volume cranked to the max. I could hear Ryan's impatient voice from the other end. Dad, Mia is hurt. I can't leave the hospital. Tell Clara we can't get away. If she's willing to wait, we'll throw her a welcome party later. Ryan, you should go. I was always just a fake, a substitute. Go back to your moon. I'm not worth it. A tearful female voice, so fragile and broken. That must be Mia, the heroine the comments mentioned. The other 3 men couldn't stand to see her cry. They chimed in. Ryan, if you're so desperate to marry into the family, then get lost. We can stay here with Mia. That was Liam. Mia, don't listen to him. He's been following Clara around like a puppy since they were kids. He's a lost cause. Let him go. I'm not going anywhere. That pledge of loyalty came from Evan. Mia, listen to me. I admit, we were unfair to you before, but don't worry, we won't let anyone unimportant hurt you again. Right now, you are very important to me. And the regretful CEO was Julian. Finally, Ryan retorted. Who said I'm Clara's puppy? That was kid stuff. I forgot all about it. You guys were just as clingy. Stop trying to pin it on me. Dad, stop calling me. I'm not coming back. If the princess needs someone to wait on her, she can find someone else. Mr. Kane swore into the phone before noticing me standing nearby. He gave me an apologetic smile. Clara, I just shook my head politely. It didn't matter. I'd known those 4 were jerks for a long time. The comments said Mia was the kind of fragile woman who inspired a fierce desire to protect. That made sense. My 4 childhood friends had always loved protecting the weak. This was especially true after my parents passed away in an accident. The four of them stuck to me like ghosts. They called it guarding me, but it was really just a self-congratulatory game of house. They forbade me from making new friends. Afraid someone would ask where my parents were, they wouldn't let me go to my friends' family parties. Afraid it would trigger sad memories. When the most popular boy in school confessed to me in high school, they stood in front of me and declared, "Don't think you can trick Clara just because she doesn't have parents. Clara, even though your mom and dad are gone, you still have us." What a cursed fate. If it weren't for them, I would have moved on ages ago. So, the first thing I did after graduating was to study abroad, far, far away. I got into a top university on my own merit, finally escaping those rich, dumb idiots. I hoped they would stay in love with their heroine and never bother me again. But on the day of the grand welcome banquet my grandfather threw for me, those shameless jerks still showed up. The Canes, the Fords, the Bells, the Prices. Those old foxes have been sucking up to our family for years. They were counting on their sons marrying you to climb the social ladder, my grandfather mused, completely unfazed. Too bad a substitute showed up and threw a wrench in their plans. They could handle that. But then you came back with a boyfriend of your own. If you marry someone else, their little scheme goes up in smoke. Of course they're panicking. They must have given their sons quite a lecture on the way home. Ha 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 ha. Grandpa's business acumen is on another level. But that's not really what happened. The parents just told them that the side character was getting engaged to someone else. The scales that were tipping toward Mia suddenly started wobbling again. It's that simple. What they can't have is always the most tempting. These four idiots perfectly embody the worst traits of men. The comments analyzed the situation perfectly. And they're so stupid, they actually agreed to bring the heroine with them. The heroine is here to act all pure and saintly, to make the side character look evil and materialistic by comparison. But why did they bring her? Why? To make the side character jealous. Of course, they can abandon her, but she's not allowed to abandon them. What a bunch of petty little boys. So, at the banquet that evening, the two most extravagantly dressed people were Asher, my soon-to-be fiancé, whom I was about to introduce to everyone, and Mia, the delicate flower who didn't even have an invitation and was brought in by her four knights in shining armor. Her features did resemble mine, but she was more petite and delicate, yet she chose to wear a royal blue, high-collared, opulent princess gown, combined with a head that was slightly too large for her shoulders. Surrounded by her four protectors, she looked a bit like a bobblehead Apocalypse and his four horsemen. I stood at the top of the stairs. I saw a flicker of stunned admiration in all four of their eyes as they looked up at me. The comments flared up again. What's this? Spent too much time with the substitute, and forgot how gorgeous the real deal is. Heh. Men are always chasing novelty. As long as it's new, even crap smells like roses. But once they've had it, they'll go back to craving the chocolate they haven't had in a while. Mia looked around, noticing their expressions. She bit her lip, a flicker of resentment in her eyes. Suddenly, she gathered her skirt and marched towards me with an air of defiance. You must be Clara, right? I'm Mia. I came today to personally give Ryan and the others back to you. I know they were with me at the hospital when you came back, but I also know that you're the one they truly love. I'm sorry, I don't want to fight with you. Please, forgive me. She reached out, trying to grab my arm. The comments scoffed. Here we go. Here we go. According to the original plot, the side character will fly into a rage because the heroine has taken her place and push her down the stairs. No way. The side character has the villain now. She wouldn't stoop to fighting with the heroine, would she? Is the side character still doomed to follow the plot? Is the heroine going to throw herself down the stairs? How cliché. So lame. They were right on the money. The moment Mia got close, she tilted her body, preparing to fall backward. Unfortunately for her, she was too slow. A hand shot out from behind her with lightning speed and yanked her down. Mia tumbled down the stairs with a series of clatters and thuds. She landed in a ridiculously undignified, four-limbed sprawl. Good thing she picked a short distance. It was embarrassing, but not life-threatening. The only problem was, the pose was far less graceful than if she'd fallen on her own. She went from how tragic, to yo, what a stuntman. Judging by the way she immediately covered her face and started sobbing before even trying to get up, she was truly mortified by her own manliness. Asher, the one who'd pulled her down, remained perfectly poised on the stairs, wearing a suit that matched my gown. With his tall, lean figure and striking features, he was the very picture of a well-dressed hooligan. He tilted his chin up, pointing at Mia, who was being helped up by the four male leads. His voice dripped with the arrogance of a pampered young master. And what are you, trying to take my spot? Don't you know that only I am allowed to stand next to Clara? You glue 8 layers of false eyelashes to your eyes to cosplay a spider, and you really think you're hot stuff? Huh, so sharp, so vicious. He had this bratty persona down to a science. I watched Mia, who was now sobbing under Asher's verbal assault, and the 4 men who were glaring at me as they helped her up. I smirked internally. So what? You can pamper your manipulative substitute, and I can spoil my bratty fiancé. You came looking for trouble. Fine. Let's play. Clara, don't you think you've gone too far? Liam, the most hot-tempered of the group, was the first to attack. Mia is our guest of honor. What do you mean by letting your man treat her like this? Are you just jealous that we're not fawning over you anymore? Afraid she'll steal your place? He gritted his teeth. You're just as spoiled as you were before you left. The more you act like a tyrant, the more you'll push us towards Mia. Now, you tell that man of yours to get down here and apologize to Mia. We may not be willing to blame you, but don't think for a second we can't handle him. Ryan chimed in. She's right, Clara. This isn't a smart move. We are not your property. We don't need your permission to like someone. Mia is the victim here, targeted by you for no reason. Oh my god, textbook scumbag quotes. These 4 must be so full of it. They can't even see themselves clearly. This is hilarious. They have the nerve to ask the great villain to apologize to them. Their families combined aren't worth one of the Hua family's subsidiaries. Hold on, do they really not recognize the heir to the Hua fortune? This is so cringe. To be fair, the Hua family has always been low-key. There are very few photos of them in the media, and Asher was raised abroad. They probably saw him with Grandpa earlier but didn't hear the introductions. So, oh, what happens if I make you angry? I'm so scared. Asher feigned terror, turning to wrap his arms around me and bury his head in my neck. Baby, these men are so mean. You have to protect me. Just an excuse to get close, but I was enjoying it. I patted his head, my eyes fixed on the 5 people below. My boyfriend just wanted to stand next to me. That woman was in his way, so naturally, she had to move. As for her fall, I smiled dismissively. My boyfriend is just naturally strong. It wasn't on purpose. He's a pure soul, not like you lot with your twisted minds. Now, you've scared him. I want you to get on your knees and apologize, or else, you should know what happens when you get on my bad side. Ha 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 ha. The best way to deal with arrogant men is to be even more arrogant. Clara is a genius. Clara is so beautiful and powerful. She's not being arrogant, she's just stating facts. A queen and her handsome consort. This is a clear power play, telling these guys, my baby is the one and only, and you are all just cannon fodder. Clara, all 4 of their faces turned dark. Ryan gritted his teeth. What did you say? He's really your boyfriend. After all these years we've pampered and protected you. What more could you possibly want? How could you betray us? Let me tell you, throwing a little tantrum out of jealousy is one thing, but if you take it too far, it's not going to be pretty. Ryan, don't be mean to Clara. Mia, who had been crying, finally spoke up, wiping her tears. She gently tugged on Ryan's sleeve. I understand her. She's just a little girl who wants to be loved. Seeing the 4 childhood friends who used to adore her protecting another girl must be so hard. It's only natural that she'd hire a male model to make you angry. As she spoke, she snuck a glance at the male model, Asher, a suspicious blush creeping up her cheeks, but she stuck to her pure-hearted persona. Actually, I don't understand either. Miss Clara is wonderful in every way, so talented and beautiful. Why did you all choose me? She blinked her big, innocent eyes. Perhaps, it's because I know how to cherish this hard-won happiness more than she does. You silly girl. Ryan's heart melted. If only you weren't so kind all the time. But then again, maybe that's why we fell for your kindness. Clara, do you see now why we all like Mia? Evan folded his arms. She's grateful, and she knows what love is. Unlike you, a block of ice that can't be warmed, a wolf that can't be tamed. If only you had given up on going abroad for our sake, we wouldn't have been so Are you an idiot? Asher cut him off, his voice sharp and direct. He had been trying to play the part of a cunning little thing, but now, he couldn't act anymore. He looked down on them, his eyes narrowed dangerously. Your preference for fragile, wilting flowers is your own personal kink. Don't project it onto my wife. My wife is a hero who could slap all 4 of you pathetic losers into next week. She is the alpha female. If you don't like her, then get lost. Don't get in the way of my freeloading. Those last 2 sentences were pure music to my ears. I loved this shameless, spoiled, and fiercely protective side of him. I wrapped my arm around his waist and tilted my chin. At the 4 stunned idiots below, exactly. If you get dumped, maybe look in a mirror. I'm very warm. Just not for you. I narrowed my eyes, my voice dripping with disdain. If any of you were half as handsome and well behaved as my baby, I wouldn't be so disgusted by you. You're ugly on the outside and even uglier on the inside. Utterly useless. I suggest the four of you lock yourselves away with Mia forever. You're all a bunch of needy, unwanted crybabies. Please don't inflict yourselves on the rest of the world. Mia choked, glaring at me with hatred. The comments translated her inner thoughts. She looks like she's winning, but she's actually losing so badly. LOL. A freeloader. What gives him the right to compare himself to us? Liam had finally snapped. He looked around the room. Ask anyone here. A pretty boy who has no career and is kept by a woman. Who would ever respect that? The other guests, who had been enjoying the show, were suddenly put on the spot. They exchanged glances. I think it's fine, said the heiress of the Sue family, swirling her champagne. A successful woman doesn't really care if her partner has money, as long as he's as handsome as Miss Clara's boyfriend, and provides emotional support. I wouldn't mind spending money on him. You're all so young. What are you even talking about careers for? Mrs. Chen said, folding her arms and smiling mockingly at the four of them. You're CEOs and COOs now. That's all thanks to your families. You're a long way from building a real career. That young man isn't like you. He's smart. A good marriage is a career in itself, you know. Besides, you've all moved on to another woman. What right do you have to tell Miss Clara who she can date? The Gu family's daughter was younger and more blunt. I like Miss Clara's boyfriend. He's so cute and devoted. You four, on the other hand, are a mess, bringing some random woman to her welcome party to cause a scene. If it were me, I'd have had you thrown out on your asses. What a bunch of losers. After that round of public opinion, the four successful men were pale with fury. Clara, we were just concerned about you. You don't have to be so ungrateful. Only Julian, who had been silent, tried to maintain his composure, attempting to shift the blame to my grandfather. Mr. G, you love Clara the most. You can see how her personality has become so warped. After getting involved with this low life, can you really bear to watch her go down the wrong path? Exactly, Mr. G, Liam pressed, getting desperate. Clara doesn't have parents to guide her, but you can't just let her run wild like this. Liam's words hit a raw nerve with my grandfather. Grandpa, who had been trying to ignore them, finally lost his temper. He threw a punch, bam, and a fountain of blood erupted from Liam's handsome face. Just last night, my grandfather had asked me privately if I was serious about getting engaged to Asher and giving up on the four of them. I had told him everything, including the things I'd been too proud to admit during my teenage years. When he learned how they constantly brought up my parents' death, he was so heartbroken and guilty that he couldn't sleep all night. He was still fuming. Liam had walked right into the line of fire. I'm warning you, you little punk. Mind your own business. Whether Clara's parents are here or not, they love her dearly. It's not something you can just bring up whenever you please. Grandpa pointed his cane at him. I allowed you lot to follow Clara around because you were like little puppies, unconditionally obedient to her. Now that you don't like her anymore, fine, have the decency to get lost. And you have the nerve to lecture my granddaughter on how to live her life. Go take a look in the mirror and see if you're even worthy. Liam had been hit. The Ford family, who had been playing dead, suddenly sprang to life. Mr. G, these are matters for the children to resolve themselves. What's the meaning of this? Resorting to violence, Mr. Ford said, his face a mask of sanctimonious outrage. Exactly. Your granddaughter just insulted my son. And did we say anything? You're an old man. Getting involved like this. Have you no shame? Mrs. Ford cradled her son, her love for her precious heir on full display. The other families, seeing which way the wind was blowing, also chimed in. It was clear that a reconciliation between their sons and me was impossible, so they decided to join forces and burn the bridges with us, solidifying their new alliance. See, it was the G family's daughter who broke things off with my son, for another man. She was abroad for only 3 years, and completely forgot about her childhood betrothal. The Price family has no need for such a fickle daughter. In law, Mr. Price was just as good at playing the victim as his son, Julian. Evan's mother added, Mr. G, we all know a girl like Mia is just for our Evan to play with on the side. Once he's married, he'll cut her off. It wouldn't have affected Clara's position at all. Ah, the classic it's just a fling defense. Evan protested. Mom, what are you saying? Mia is a good girl. I would never betray her. Ma'am, it's okay if you say that about me, But please don't make Evan sound so heartless. When did being devoted become a crime in this society? Mia also began her grand declaration. Ryan chimed in. Mia is right. I don't want to marry some heiress. I want to be with Mia. Ryan's father used his son's words to turn the tables. Mr. G. If one person doesn't like your granddaughter, that's his problem. But when all 4 of our sons fall for another girl, it means your granddaughter just isn't as good as she is. Is that so hard to admit? Liam shouted. Dad, if you sever my happiness for a lifetime just because you're afraid of the G family, I will never forgive you. His father was even more brainless. Afraid. The G family might have a bit more money than us, but if the 4 of us join forces, we can easily take a chunk out of them. The comments had no words. What are they even trying to prove? So stupid. I must have been a villain in my past life to witness such a cringe-worthy scene. Can the author please have some conscience? Why create a bunch of toxic men just to disgust me? For the first time, I'm hoping the great villain actually wipes them all out. And Asher, the great villain, had exactly that power. He had been tapping away on his phone for a while now. Just as Liam's father finished his threat, his phone rang. He dismissed the call, continuing to taunt my grandfather. You'd better think carefully about whether you want to go against all 4 of our families for your spoiled little granda. Before he could finish, his phone rang again. He silenced it. It rang again. At the same time, everyone else's phones started ringing too. Amidst the chorus of ringtones, they slowly realized something was wrong. They exchanged uneasy glances before finally answering their calls. Their expressions shifted from confident to strained to pale, until finally, their faces were filled with utter panic. What? The contract fell through at the last minute. Did they say why? I thought that shipment was cleared. Why is it suddenly stuck at customs? What about the compensation the client is demanding? They're not happy with the proposal. Why not? What are my people even doing? That funding was supposed to be secured. How could they just pull out? No. The entire company is waiting for that money. Then, after hearing something from the other end of the line, they all fell into a dead silence. It was like the Titanic hitting the iceberg, a dawning horror that they had been blind to their own doom. Dad, can you deal with the company stuff later? Just make the G family apologize to us. I will never go through with this engagement. Liam, the spoiled brat with zero business sense, was still whining. His father, finally snapping out of his daze, stared at him with bloodshot eyes. He raised his hand and delivered a resounding slap. Smack. Get on your knees, and apologize to Miss Clara and Mr. Hua. Haha. Look at them change their tune. Where's all that arrogance now? Those calls must be Asher's doing. The Hua family controls the entire province's economy. Tripping up these few families is child's play for them. These old fools were so busy trying to please their clients, they had no idea they'd just offended the biggest client of all. Business is like a battlefield. Sometimes, people will crush you just because they don't like you. No reason needed. It was just like their sons, who couldn't stand that I didn't beg and cry for them to come back after their betrayal, and had to stir up trouble out of sheer pettiness. By the time they realized the magnitude of their mistake, it was too late. Young Master Hua, Mr. Price, now aware of Asher's identity, hurried over with a sycophantic smile. You see, it was all a misunderstanding. If we had known you were Miss Clara's boyfriend, we would never have disagreed. We were just worried that Miss Clara was in the wrong hands. It was all out of concern. Please, don't be angry. Yes, Mrs. Bell chimed in. We watched Clara grow up. Even if she can't be our daughter-in-law, we still want the best for her. We were just worried, that's all. Asher tilted his head slightly, a merciless smile playing on his lips. Is that so? Then who were the 2 idiots who called my Clara fickle and were planning to let their son keep a mistress? His beautiful, sharp features turned cold and ruthless. You've lived for decades and still haven't grown a brain. Stop putting on an act in front of me. To be honest, in this mode, he was every bit the crown prince. A chilling kind of sexy, a restrained arrogance. It was quite charming. Mrs. Bell knew there was no way out. She raised her hand and slapped Mia several times out of pure frustration. It's all your fault. You seduced my son. You instigated all of this. Look at the mess you've made. Are you happy now, Mom? Evan rushed to pull her away. We all made this decision together. How can you blame it all on Mia? You shut up, Mrs. Bell shrieked at him. Do you have any idea how much money we just lost? Millions. Enough to leave you unable to afford your clothes, your shoes, your school. You have no future because of this woman. Do you understand? Evan froze. What? He shook his head. No, That's impossible. How could that be? Mom, you're lying, right? His mother just sobbed, pulling at her hair, no longer paying him any attention. Evan, don't be sad. Mia finally panicked. Forgetting her usual act, she grabbed Evan's arm. You still have me. Evan yanked his arm away. Don't touch me right now. I need to think. Mia was stunned. For the first time, her words had no effect on Evan. She covered her face and began to cry, playing her trump card. I'm sorry. I didn't know our love would bring you so much disaster. If Miss Clara and young Master Hua hate me this much, then I'll disappear. Please don't take it out on the ones I love. She clutched her chest and bowed to the families. I will leave your sons' lives. I just hope you won't blame them. They are all truly good people. Liam, Ryan, Julian, Evan, goodbye. With that, she lifted her skirt and ran for the door, but Liam shot up and ran after her, pulling her into a tight embrace. Don't go. He held her close. Who gave you permission to leave without my consent? I don't care about the Hua family. I don't care about their pressure. He glared at me with hatred. Clara, if you think you can separate me and Mia this way, I'll just hold on to her even tighter. So what if we have no money? It can't stop us from loving each other. The comments were speechless. Oh my God, the stupidest character in the entire book has appeared. Where does he get the confidence to think Clara is still trying to get his attention? Heh, fun fact. Liam is the first male lead in this book, the one who loves the heroine the most. The author really threw logic out the window for the sake of the plot. He's gone completely mad. I don't need my family. I can build a future for you with my own two hands. Ignoring his father's roars, Liam made his vow. Mia was completely moved, nodding vigorously. Yes, they prepared to run off into the sunset together. Before leaving, Mia looked back at the conflicted Ryan. Ryan was being held back by his father. Finally, he gave a sad smile. Liam, love her well. I lost. Just kill me now. The comments voiced my thoughts exactly. The four great families had taken a heavy blow. They were finally humbled, finally beaten. Except for Liam, the other three, either willingly or forced by their families, came to see me, but they were stopped at the gate by security. I had no time to entertain their drama. I was busy snatching up all the resources they had just lost from the Hua Corporation. Asher's power play didn't come without a price. The price was that the G family had to deliver on all the goods, projects, and proposals that the other families had defaulted on, all within a 2-month grace period. It was a challenge, but also a golden opportunity. After all, a family like the Huas was not one I could easily marry into based on my family's status alone. Asher was insistent on giving me the shares as a dowry, and he could make it happen, but what I wanted was to become a real part of the Hua family's power structure. I had to prove to Asher's mother, the true power behind the Hua Empire, that I had the ability to strengthen their family. Handling these matters was my ticket in. Asher understood this, which was why he did it. Baby, you go fly high. I'll handle all the logistics for you. Asher's idea of logistics was a bit unprofessional, as I was pulling an all-nighter working on a proposal. He walked into my study wearing nothing but an apron, holding a plate of strawberries and cream. The warm light highlighted his perfectly sculpted muscles, making his skin glow like white chocolate. He leaned over my desk, gently tracing his full lips with a cream-covered strawberry. His eyes were full of seduction. Care for a late-night snack to replenish your energy. I smiled at him. I grabbed the back of his neck and kissed him hard. I pushed him onto the desk and had my way with him, thoroughly. The next day, I had his luggage packed and threw him out of the house. You go home and keep your mother happy. I'll come get you when I've handled everything. You little seducer. If you keep distracting me, I'll never get my work done. I'll make sure you can't get it up again. Asher wiped away a fake tear like a wronged wife. Use me and toss me aside, you heartless woman. The next second, he was dragging his suitcase out the door, off to sweet talk his mother. My grandfather and I mobilized all our resources, working around the clock, pulling strings, and taking risks. Finally, just before the deadline, we got all the contracts approved. The massive projects were funded and set in motion. I let out a huge sigh of relief. Then, I got the good news from Asher. Next week, at the exclusive Cloud Top Villa, his mother wanted to have dinner with me. Sis, you have to be careful. Mia and those 4 scumbags are going to cause trouble. Those 4 are going to tell Asher's mom that you have a physical relationship with them. They're going to spread vicious rumors about you, call you promiscuous, and Mia is going to drug Asher's drink, and have her waiter friends assault him when he goes to the bathroom. Those scumbags can't stand to see our girls succeed when they're failing. Clara, you can't let them get away with it. during my 2 months of hard work, I'd occasionally get updates on the runaway lovers, Mia and Liam. From the comments, the young master left his family only to find that the real world was harsh. He couldn't find a decent job. He ended up living in a tiny apartment, mooching off Mia. His lavish spending habits shocked Mia's entire family. The saying love can conquer all turned out to be a joke when they were poor. They fought constantly. Liam, convinced Mia no longer loved him, resorted to forcing himself on her. He nearly caused her to miscarry the baby she had just become pregnant with. The Ford family, unwilling to lose their first grandchild, eventually took them back, but the damage was done. Their love for each other had been worn away. With their love gone, their wicked ideas returned. They remembered their common enemy, me, so they gathered the other three and cooked up a malicious plan to ruin my first meeting with my future mother-in-law. Mia's part was to find a way to spend a night with Asher, forcing the Hua family to take her and her child in. After all, she had already set her sights on Asher at the banquet. She had only chosen Liam at the time because he was the safer bet, but after what Liam had done to her, her love was completely gone. She decided to gamble. It was true what they say. A villain's elaborate scheme is nothing compared to a fool's sudden inspiration, spreading rumors, drugging drinks. I'd never seen people so eager to land themselves in jail. The day I met Asher's mother, Catherine, we got along wonderfully. We hit it off immediately. Asher, meanwhile, was putting on his usual dramatic show. Mommy, I told you she's not some poor girl. She promised me that once we're married, she'll help me run the family business. Your son can just lie in bed and count money. Catherine patted his head lovingly. That's wonderful, my dear. Your lovesick brain is not suited for running a company. I'm glad it can finally do what it's good at. We toasted and chatted happily. The comments were buzzing with curiosity. Weird. Wasn't Mia supposed to bribe the sommelier to drug Asher's drink? He seems fine. Weren't you paying attention? Mia was taken away by the police earlier because of an anonymous tip that she was in possession of illegal drugs intended for a guest. Holy crap, who did that? That's brilliant. I did. I do have a bit of money. When it comes to bribery, Mia is no match for me. Liam, unaware that Mia had been arrested, proceeded with the plan, storming into our private room with the other three in tow. Clara, stop hiding your relationship with us from Mrs. Hua. The Hua family is very traditional. You'll be exposed sooner or later. I'm sorry, Mrs. Hua, but Clara is our fiancée. She's been our woman for a long time. Wow, so vile. They're basically announcing that Clara slept with them. Not to mention Clara wouldn't even look at them. But even if she had, so what? The patriarchy is dead. This is such a vicious move. Saying it so openly is just meant to disgust people. I really like Asher's mom, but most wealthy mothers would have a hard time accepting a future daughter-in-law with several exes. The prejudice in people's hearts is a mountain. Even the usually progressive comments were losing hope. Fortunately, Catherine Hua was not your typical wealthy mother. She first looked the four of them up and down, then shot me a teasing smile. Your taste has certainly improved over the years, Mrs. Hua. Liam began to speak. She cut him off. What league are you in? And what league is my daughter-in-law in? If we're being technical, the most you can say is that you used to be her man, right? What? She doesn't want you anymore, so you come here to complain. What can you do? It's your own fault you couldn't keep a woman. My son is simply better than you. In love, the one who isn't loved is the third wheel. Don't you third, fourth, fifth, and sixth wheels understand that? Making a scene in front of the official partner. How utterly classless. The comments were instantly vindicated, erupting with excitement. Ah, I was wrong. You're not a typical mom. You are the all-encompassing mother of the earth. What brilliant reverse psychology. The only way to defeat toxic masculinity is with powerful femininity. Looking at their stunned, ashen faces, I smiled to myself. They were still trying to figure out what had happened as they were being dragged out by the Hua family's bodyguards. The Hua empire may bear the Hua name, but it was Catherine who single-handedly built it to what it is today. It wasn't that Vincent Hua chose her to be his wife. It was that Catherine, among all the potential candidates, chose him. When a woman reaches my position, you don't need to fight for the credit. People will always attribute your success to your husband. She patted my shoulder. But you need to know what's truly worth holding on to in your own hands. I nodded seriously. I understand. However, she winked slyly. I am very protective. Asher loves you. You'd better stay with him until you're both old and gray. I smiled, gently negotiating my terms. Well, that depends on how generous a wedding gift my mother-in-law is willing to give her daughter-in-law. The story of my 4 childhood friends being thrown out of Cloud Top Villa by the Hua family made headlines. Business is business. No company, big or small, would work with them anymore. The 4 families, who had just banded together, were now sinking together. Of course, without money, they still had Mia, but when they saw Mia at the police station, spilling every detail of their plan, they realized that their one and only pure white Jasmine had become a wicked Black Lotus. She was screaming, trying to drag them down with her. It was Liam. Liam made me do it. He said he would get rid of my baby if I didn't listen. This baby, he raped me to conceive it. I don't want to go to jail. Wah. If I had known, I would have died before getting involved with them. They played with me when they wanted to. Then they kicked me aside when they were done, leaving me to suffer alone. Why? I thought she had a point. She deserved what was coming to her, but those 4 deserved it even more. In the real world, there might not be fair justice, but this was a novel, and I would do my best to help them get what they deserved. I hired a lawyer to help Mia pro bono, to sue Liam for rape and the other 3 for molesting a minor, which Mia was at the time. Everyone would pay their price. No one would get away. During this time, the 4 of them, along with their families, stumbled back to my family's gate. They cried and knelt, begging for my forgiveness. Clara, I was a monster. I'm not human. If I had known Mia was such a materialistic, social, climbing bitch, I would never have left you. Clara, you were right to curse us back then. You're so wonderful. We were blind. To trade a pearl for a fisheye. We know we were wrong, but my parents are getting old. Please help us. You can do whatever you want to us to get even. They weren't sorry. They were just scared because their lives were over. But I couldn't hear their pleas. I wasn't home anymore. I was at a Hua Corporation board meeting. The shares Catherine gave me were enough to give me, as the new CEO, the power to make bold moves. Of course, I also remembered my promise to her, to build a good marriage with Asher, and to live a fabulous life. Tonight, Asher was sulking again because I was working late. I held him and cooed, "Tell me, what compensation do you want? You don't care about money, but this big sister has all night to spend with you." Asher brightened up, whispering in my ear, "Tonight, I bought a new set. I'll wear it for you." The comments appeared right on cue. A what set? What is it that my VIP membership won't let me see? Ha 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 ha. Remember when Asher was first introduced as the cold villain? Compared to his mom and his wife, he's just a newbie soldier with a head full of love. Asher, you're done for. Once you become your wife's slave, you'll be in her shape for life. Finally, they were shut out by my bedroom door. I have to go now. I need to see what Asher is wearing.